Welcome to Yoke, Rehashed. Generation Next with Larry Tazuma and Summer Wynn. Yoke is back.
Welcome to the OG Yoke Generation Next. I'm Summer Wynn. Larry Tazuma is in Vegas. I don't mean to point out wherever he is. So I have Sally Yeh, and I'm going to probably ask her how to say that, right? But she is born in Seoul, Korea to Chinese parents. She also lived in Taiwan, Japan, Guam, USA, Dominican Republic, Singapore, Hong Kong, and China. She attended UC Berkeley in International Trade and Politics with a minor in Communications and later became a graduate at the American Film Institute's MFA program. Woohoo! AFI and her. She began her media career on radio in San Francisco, KFRC, and KMEL in Taiwan, BCC, and ICRT, which led to television, CTV, TTV, and CTS in Taipei, MTV in Asia. As an on-air personality and producer, her debut film, Bean Sprouts and Salted Fish, won awards at the Singapore International Film Festival, and she constantly keeps herself busy with writing, developing, producing, and narratives and realities and feature films. And she has come across the whole spectrum of entertainment in front and behind the camera. We welcome Sally Yeh.
Hi. Hi, Summer. So
I know. You had to hang out there while you were telling me all this. Usually Larry Tazuma does this with all the intros, but I felt like, hey, I can read this amazing bio. I can do it myself. We met through Yuri Alvin, who's just one of my best friends, and also yours. He went to school with you, as I just found out, at AFI. How was that doing? You didn't have to do a film with him in AFI, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Well, AFI is really rigorous. The first year, you go straight into boot camp, and then you make what's called cycle projects, and they're short films.
Yeah.
One after another. So we did one boot camp, 3 cycle projects, all within a year.
Oh.
There's just no time to breathe. I'm now helping a lot of incoming students apply into arts and media.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually sent a couple of students into AFI, and that program is pretty much the same. I mean, video film, I shot in 16 millimeter for my thesis film, but currently it's all on video. But it's still as rigorous, it's the same thing.
Do they ever have the alumni come back in like the way high school reunions are, or?
Yeah, they had one, and Yuri went, actually. But he doesn't usually do those kinds of things, for all I know. And they had a great time. Yeah.
And for you, AFI and also UC Berkeley, if I'm saying it right, those really, some people say that with art in film, you don't need education, but you did double the education. So it's pretty helpful, right, for you?
Well, here's the thing. Because I know this really well now that I'm working with friends in education, and I've been basically talking to students and helping them, getting them to apply to film school, media, design, communications. So what it is that film is still centralized in LA, right? And then New York has its strengths as well, as you know, with Columbia, Yale. And so location is really important. So if you're from anywhere in the world and you really want to get into what Hollywood means, then being in LA matters. If you want to go into theater, being in New York matters.
Right.
So that's the first thing. If you're immediately in LA when you're attending AFI, USC, UCLA, Chapman, or any of those neighboring schools. And then all of your cohorts have that same ambition. And that synergy is creativity right there.
Yeah. When you when you went to all those film schools and you did all those shorts, but no one can see it, I heard in AFI,
Oh,
except it's screened during the school time, but no one can see it after you graduate. Is that true?
I think it's getting better.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, that has been an issue. And I think something that's being worked on by the different schools.
wow.
Yeah, like at USC, there is their website and they're showing some of the content of the students.
Wow. That USC is, yeah, it's a film school. You chose not to go to USC for
I didn't get USC.
don't say that. USC, you guys. I didn't apply, but I think you should have gotten her. Sally Yeh here.
I just lie. No, I don't lie. I try not to.
Yeah, me too.
White lies, right?
Yeah.
But with AFI, this is what I my brother used to steal magazines from people's trash, and I was learning English as a kid, and AFI was one of the magazines that was in the pile, and didn't know anything about American Film Institute. I just thought this magazine was really cool because it wasn't just gossip; it was really insightful about how films are made, and they showcase a lot of great filmmakers. And so in this magazine's an insert saying, like, if you want to be a member, so what, as soon as I could get money and write a check, I started subscribing. And that's what I knew AFI to be, a magazine. So it took until I decided I'm going to film school that I realized it's a film school. And
it was beautiful, right? I've seen the campus.
Yeah, and I'm like, I gotta go because I read from their magazine for years and years until they stopped. And one of the things I initially did when I got into this school was walking into their building and seeing whole walls of the covers of their magazines and going like, I read that, I read that.
I didn't even know they had magazines, so this is interesting.
Yeah, they did.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
So it's such an amazing institution.
And when you decided, it's kind of weird to back then for both of us. How do you decide to go through cinema instead of going through the regular, usual route for Asian occupations? I guess you can call it Asian occupations.
I don't know. Like recently, I think I might have ADD or something because I realized there's things that I don't want to do and I can't do, and I put it off. If I put like a list of things on my checklist, I'm the kind of person who's like, do it, done, done, done. But then there's certain things I just delay because I just don't feel like doing it, And so no one can, it's hard for anyone to make me do something, including my parents. My siblings were in two chemists, a math major, an engineer, computer science, completely different.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's just, I think, not out of practicality, absolutely, but out of doing what you can only do because it's what you want to do. Because I can't do things I don't want to do. I did get a job through a headhunter right out of college, working for Wells Fargo Leasing, and it was miserable. And there's nothing wrong with the company or the people I worked with, and even the pay was good, but it just was, I was depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how the hell am I gonna like last a week and then the month and then a second month, So when I got a call from a friend in Taiwan to host a radio show, it was like, yeah. And I had to tell my headhunter, I got hired. I need to go. 3 months aren't up yet, but I need to go. And she's like, but I want my commission. Can you stay for just another week? Or I couldn't, but they were all really happy for me. And they gave me their blessings. And I felt really lucky to have that experience, being bored stiff, to have this opportunity where the pay really wasn't very good. They didn't even pay for my airfare. They didn't give me housing, none of that, right? And like, I'm going. And that took off.
That's the risk, right? You go, and have you been there before you got that offer?
In kindergarten.
Oh, I'm sorry. But that doesn't count because you're like, I don't know, 5. How do you remember that stuff? I don't even remember
I
anything.
remember eating dumplings out in the streets, those street vendors.
Okay, fine. So you're one of those super photographic people. I don't even remember anything before 12 or 15. I don't. Very, very small. Um, okay, and then you went back to Taiwan, um, and you did the radio show,
Yeah,
and it's so cool because radio back then,
yeah.
and also now, the ones that are surviving, I still think they're really good, because you also get to play the music, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think that was it because I interned at 2 radio stations in San Francisco, which gave me a bit of a head start to be at a radio station where it was the first 24-hour live station in Mandarin. But my Mandarin wasn't that good. I kept taking it. I speak it with my parents, and I took it in high school at Lowell, and I continued to take Chinese in Cal, but my Mandarin was still, but that's what made people pay attention to me, which is really bizarre because I didn't think like, well, this is all I could do, and people are like, who is this? So I hope it's a little more than that, but yeah, that's what really actually got a lot of people's attention.
Then I want to just take a moment and focus on how did you grab them, like with the greeting or just being yourself and or I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
myself.
I know. I mean, it's kind of it's not usually the case here, so I'm just like in Hollywood.
Yeah, I know. There are definitely things that are kind of made to be in the US. And even when I was on radio, and my first boss, Janice, asked me to get on radio, I said, you're listening to me? This voice is not radio. And she goes, I think I determined that. And I thought, wow, okay, you're right. But there is a radio voice, right? There is all of these kind of like when you deliver news, there's a certain way you deliver news.
Monotone care, I told one of my actor friends that he has that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you don't care, there's no expression at all.
Yeah, there's these things that are kind of like inflections that are required of people. I'm kind of the alternative, I guess. And I learned a lot. I We all have training actually. What was interesting was my cohorts, the other DJs were big celebrities, and I didn't know them.
Hmm.
So Harlem Yu, Yu Chen Qing, Emil Chow, Zhou Huajian, there were Huang Yingling, K Huang. These were big stars that I didn't know. So it was interesting to then like take out a record and go, oh, that's you.
No, I
Oh
I
my
grew
God.
up with I grew up with Andy Lau. I was like I watched him first on his soap operas and whatever his filming, and then I go, he can sing? Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, his Mandarin album, he came to a radio station and everyone was rolling out the red carpet.
Hmm.
And I didn't know who he was. So the whole studio, which is usually, the assistant and the co-host and another assistant, they were gone. And the DJ after us all went to get Andy and escort him through the red carpet, and I don't know who he was, and didn't do my homework there, and he was really surprised, and I think that was the twist of it too, was he's like, okay, you never watch my movies? No, but later when I worked at MTV, we gave him an award, so we hung out for a week.
Mm.
I really got to know him. He's a really hardworking actor.
I think a lot of the Hong Kong actors are hardworking. Their movies are crazy challenging. Story, length, action, all the risk they take. Yeah, I applaud them for I grew up, that's how I learned my Vietnamese. I'm Vietnamese, and I watched Hong Kong movies dubbed in Vietnamese to learn my Vietnamese.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the other thing, was people listen to this other station where I ended up working after, Zhongguang, and that was all in English, and people listen to it to learn English.
Yeah, closed caption is amazing. Um, I'm going to try something because I did not. There you go. I didn't do this before. Um, are you doing your phone, Sally?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
that's why you're long. Okay, I mean tall.
like horizontal.
Yeah.
Is that
Oh
better?
no, no,
Now my
now I have to see it
down
this
it.
way. Like,
Yeah.
thank you. I was just trying to figure it out. Okay, let's go to some of your name droppings. Rennie Harlan is one of my favorite action directors because he
Oh,
did a lot of movies with Gina Davis. So he did a lot of action movies that before, I guess, Mission Impossible movies. I don't want to um I don't want to have Tom Cruise on my butt, but I love the Rennie Harlan movies, and he takes a lot of risk, and his actors do too. So when you did you interview him as a director? Um,
yeah. So he would really appreciate what you said. Uh,
oh,
yeah, he ended up moving to China and
oh,
worked on a film called Skip Trace
mm,
with Jackie Chan.
mhm,
That did really well. So he lived in China. I was in Beijing as well. So I spoke to him to direct on a project, which ended up not being made because of COVID, and that was really sad. But I got to know him, and he's a really nice guy.
mm. Um, Directing is hard. I did shorts too, and you directed shorts, right? You
Yeah.
directed shorts, and it's not easy. You have to do the whole process from beginning to end, top to bottom, everything. It's a lot of not even bossing people around, but having everyone delegate and work together.
I'm better a producer than a director, though.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, let's go to that. When you produce, how do you find your stories, or do you and do you do you sit in with everything? Because I do casting.
Yeah.
So do you sit through the whole thing and then you line produce your own projects?
The film that I worked on, Chandi Talk to China, was a Bollywood film shot in China with Warner Brothers and RSC Orion out in Mumbai. And that was because I was working at Warner Brothers in Beijing.
Hmm.
I did some preliminary development work, and then they said this contingency is coming in. They need someone to help them out and look at locations and get to know the lay of the land, because there are certain scenes that are imperative to shoot in China, particularly with the Great Wall. And it turned out like I gave them resumes and all of the whatever they needed, because my daughter at the time was like a year old. um, then they said, we actually want to work with you. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's do this. So yeah, we worked together for 3 years, and yeah, that's how I started to work on that project. I think for producing, it's different each time. There's a particular project I'm hoping to get on end of this year.
Mm,
We'll
mm.
see. Yeah, fingers crossed. And I'm really excited if it were to happen, because I'm seeing, like, the first time I'm actually seeing scenes in my head.
Oh, I love that. I love it when you like do when you even if you're not writing or you just you want to tell a story, it's just the whole thing is already in your head.
It's like a dream. Like, you close your eyes and you go, yeah, that played out.
Mhm. Um, Sometimes I have to write it down because with dreams you kind of forget.
True.
And and I think do you write it down? Like
Yeah, yeah.
or do you record it? You know how some people do the recording?
Both, actually.
Mm.
But I have to say, with AI today, people need to really not diss AI. Is here to stay. It's not going to disappear. I think is to work with it than to,
Be friends with the enemy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, integrate yourself.
Well, my father's coming up with he has a PhD and just a little PhD and then he's doing a um something about AI and it's already I I like off this interview I will tell you later because he's already marked it and so I hope his research goes into it where he'll be the first person to do this kind of like a thesis like you did in AFI you did a lot of thesis and it's exciting to add the AFI I'm sorry AI to add the AI into something that is still so new
Yeah,
to
but I think it's moving really quickly, and
mm,
it's going to go even faster now than ever. So
oh.
to just try to shun it or to say I'm against it is saying that. I think it's really important to know that it's in our environment and to work with it instead of against it.
So does that mean you have a story of your AI first experience?
No, I've been just kind of experimenting in terms of how to ask questions and how to work with them. So then to get the most out of that, like I'm not fully there yet, but from what I understand, there are countries like South Korea that are fully using AI
Mhm.
to implement the development process.
I agree with you. You're ahead of me because I don't know how to do it so that they don't you have to ask the right questions when you're typing it in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's really hard. I like to just say whatever I'm asking and it just doesn't take it. It's like a husband that doesn't want to listen to me. It's just really annoying. Like AI. Um, let me get to this. Okay. You're
Perplexity and Lex, those are the two to 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 experiment with.
which one?
Perplexity and Lex.
Oh, let me write that down. Perplexity, and Lex. Perplexity. Sorry, people, I'm just writing this down. Okay. Um, so the media content um has changed from from our past and then now to near here. How do you feel about that? I mean, obviously the AI has a picture in it, like involvement, but beyond that, digital and everything. I experience the payphones to the cell phones, and that's why you have to accept the technology, just moderate yourself. But you were there as well. How are you adapting to it?
I think we all adapt to it. It's a big question.
Oh,
Like,
sorry, loaded question. Okay. How are you making it work for you?
how do I make it work for me? I haven't. The thing is, I left the front of the camera and I keep asking myself, do you want to go back? And
Mhm.
I go, not really. so, so that's, but here's the opportunity though. we all have a phone. We all can do that. We all can be a YouTube star. I mean, you can, but you gotta be doing it.
Uh,
Have content. You have to be diligent. You have to be disciplined, and and but it's right there in your hands. So that's the change today. Is okay. You got the stuff. Show it.
and it's connected. So you were you the I guess a liaison between China and American ho like Hollywood? You were like,
Yeah, I did a little bit of that. Yeah.
mhm. So
It
did
was
a lot of people
for a
kiss you?
while,
Huh?
and then things didn't go too well for, well, pre-COVID. There were several things that happened. There's a tax issue that happened within China, and the star named Fan Bingbing, and then there was also just a whole lot of like financial issues as well. Right. And then the trade issue is part of this whole East West thing that's ongoing.
Mhm.
Uh, but when you shoot films that are as big as Marvel in China, when their budget for their film is not even on the average a tenth of that, there's just going to be some issues. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like when The Mummy was shot in China. Um, what I heard was that the extras overnight were paid 10 times more because an actor thought, this is not fair. I'm not going to go and shoot because my assistant is being paid so low. But then with the local Chinese, it's a big bite out of their budget. So there are these kinds of things when you're looking at an international market and
Mhm.
then you're looking at a domestic market in that country,
Mhm.
and how there's this huge disparity, not only in culture, but in the dollar.
Mhm. And the thing is, anybody would want a movie in China because they say there's a lot of people who will pay to watch movies over there.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. But
yeah.
the government, has a say as well. So this is always, that's always been the most difficult part is you are not the government. You cannot control censorship. That controls you.
Mhm.
So that in
Yeah.
terms of trying to plan things out and have it done in a certain way doesn't always work.
How is there any like if you're able to say anything, is there anything a story that happened to you between the two countries where you had to like there was something that was a little conflict and then you had to kind of resolve it to did you resolve it with karaoke basically and alcohol? I don't know. How do you resolve two countries about no.
How do you solve the big political issues today, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, it filters into the cultural realm as well. So it's not something that's just like unfortunately a night in karaoke will fix.
I
Although
mean,
I've done that because one of my bosses said, okay, for this favor you owe me and you're gonna go and do karaoke because that's what these particular people in Indonesia wants to do. So I said, that's it, just go and sing with you guys, right?
yeah.
Yeah, belted out all the Carpenter songs that I know.
I know. Oh my God, I love her. The communist. So let's go into that point where you have another lady associate or artist who has the same name that you do,
Oh
and
my.
she does sing for a living. And I think that's funny that when I'm doing my homework about you, and her name pops up so many times. And I'm like, it's like doing detective work trying to find you because it's all about her. And she's really good. I actually know some of her songs, especially from the movies that she did.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, where is Sally Yeh? And how do you say your last name?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sally Yeh. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, where is she?
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm good at disappearing because it was before we had Facebook and Instagram and all of that stuff. So people can disappear. But now I kind of like I like my anonymity.
I know.
I
It is nice. It is nice. Hmm.
Yeah, I enjoy being I mean, I was on MTV in Asia every day. I was doing these TV shows in Taiwan that was like during dinner time. People were watching me doing a game show and having dinner. It was a lot of exposure, and it just was kind of like, do I want to continue to do that? Yeah, it's not. I think that's hard for people who have never done it to understand, but people who have, they would get it because persona of me right here in this frame is this person, but then there's when this is cameras turned off, I'm still here, and I'm this person, and I'm flawed and imperfect and all of that stuff. Like, I'm just human. So
Why
there's
are
all
you
of that.
saying you're imperfect? It's like, I know that everybody likes to say, oh, yeah, being imperfect is perfect. And I'm like, we don't have to measure ourselves at all. We need to say, hey, I'm a good, decent person. That's all you need to be. I mean, um, and not judgmental, of course, that's the goal. That's that's hard to do for the judgmental part. But I find it fascinating with the hosting. So you had to do it in person at the stage in Hong Kong or China, right? Would you say when
I
you
was
did?
I was on television. I was at the MTV Movie Awards at the red carpet. I've been on stage. I opened for the Bon Jovi and Bobby Brown and Sting. So the whole gamut. And then the other Sally Yeh, we never met, but there was a opportunity for us, but there was a conflict of schedule. So we ended up me interviewing her via satellite as if it's happening live. I can say that now, it's been forever. But
Spoiler, yeah.
like hi, but we're not actually, like, you and I are in sync right now, right? So that was our meeting.
And did she say anything? Like, who has the better credit?
No, I never asked that. That's
Mm,
gonna be the tricky one.
mm,
She does for sure. I mean, she's made I don't know how many albums, right? And she was an actress.
mm.
Uh, I'm an actress, but I didn't work with John Woo in The Killer, right? And I met her husband, who had a Mandarin album, and he was in my studio.
Oh, wow.
George, really nice guy. Yeah,
Um, so you're an extrovert. Would you say you're an extrovert?
no, I was a
Okay.
shy kid, and I couldn't speak English, so that made me even more introverted. It took me a long time to be who I am now, and I think on camera at one particular time I was an extrovert on screen,
Mm.
but person, I think everyone has different facets, and it's just asking yourself, if you're a performer, which facet do you want to shine, right?
Mm.
So, for example, and we can all do that actually. Like, my daughter and I were at Disneyland in Shanghai, and there was this Tron ride, and it's really scary. So she's like, I want to go there, and I go, oh God. And she was really bummed out, and I just thought to myself, like, just bring the other crazy person out, and you'll have a really good time. Just. And so it took a good, I don't know, 10 minutes to an hour, whatever, and then I came to that realization, and I told my daughter, okay, we can go now. And she had her eyes closed. I had mine wide open.
It's a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
Ugh, no, yeah.
No,
I
what
think,
I mean is like you challenge yourself and you could switch.
okay, here's the thing. Physical wise, I did an upside down pose one time and
Yeah.
I got vertigo from it. It only happens to people old age. Okay. So there's something in your ears. They said crystals in your ears. And so if you shake them, it makes you have please don't um I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying my experience is that I moved my crystals out of sync when I did an upside down. I was trying to make a parody of
Oh,
those
God.
dumb shampoo
Would
commercials.
that ever go back?
It took a while. My
Oh
my
my.
um father-in-law taught, and he's a military veteran, and he taught my husband how to help me, and I had to lay on the bed. And he had to turn my head real quick. I mean, it's a lot of situations that you can find on YouTube. They always talk about it from experienced professionals. But it worked. I was struggling for 3 days, couldn't sleep. I had to sit up because if I lay flat, it's horrible. It's like you're going through that Space Mountain ride
Yeah.
in Disney
Yeah.
constantly. It was horrible. I am never doing anything upside down ever again. I'm not moving my crystals anywhere except keeping it here. Um,
I never even knew we had crystals in our ears.
yeah, it was something. I'm sure, like, I should educate myself about it. But I find it easier to just say, hey, don't hang up upside down, shooting a photo of yourself and doing it 5 times in a row. It's bad, just bad. For I've never had vertigo before, and then it happened, and then I haven't had it since. Knock on wood.
Oh,
So
I'm glad you're okay.
yeah, it was painful. It was painful, but so
Scary.
this is cool. So you you work with the bigger companies. You work with the big talents. Do you have did you have an experience with a talent that was really nice for you or really difficult without naming names?
Yeah, both.
Okay. At the same time, same person?
No, no. Certain people that were like super shiny, like Emil Chow. He was like just the nicest guy. And when I shot with MTV at the Grand Hyatt in Taipei, we literally took up like a suite, and then they made these backdrops, and there were lights coming from different sides. And my eyes are kind of screwed up because I had what's called radio keratotomy. So what that means is that you'll see kind of streams with lighting. To me, it was like you see an aura. So I had different guests come and sit across from me, and I'll see their chi, their aura. And his was always like this big sun.
Wow.
Yeah. So we always had a great time. But the
That
one,
is a really good pickup line. Seriously. Wow. Never heard of that before. But it's you this is kind of like a superpower that you have chemically, like it just happens.
for that particular period when I was hosting that show, I saw like where their energy field was. And that helped me make my interview either more intimate or more loud or less, because it's like the worst thing is when you ask questions and they're just not going to answer you, right? Or yes, no, I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Those are the worst ones.
uh-huh. I
So,
know. Were you born? Yes. Like you just said. Um, the other thing, well, also, I understand privacy. I think some talents and people want to they don't want to reveal anything too private. So, I understand that. And but the interviewer, like you or me, we just doing our job, right? As long as we're like respectful. And
yeah.
have you Do you, if you talk to somebody and interviewing someone and you think, oh my gosh, when you're listening and you hear something, do you pursue it or do you kind of drop it? If you hear something really, really big and you're like, oh, he just said, and do you just drop it? You move on in case they're sensitive on that?
Okay, this is my suggestion, is that you have to read the room.
Mm, mm,
So when you read the room, you'll kind of know, like, okay, am I gonna get what I want to get, which is for that person to speak to you, right? In a way that is positive. But if you still really want to ask, then do the whole preface. This may be a sensitive subject and you don't need to really elaborate if you don't want to, but I would really like to know because I'm really curious. Do you mind? you know, and normally if they're warming up to you, they'll say, yeah, go ahead. And then they'll say whatever they say.
hmm Yeah.
So don't
Because,
lose that opportunity, but to be smart in terms of how you phrase it.
hmm Thank you. Thank you. No, because this is a Zoom interview, I want to be careful not to make any noise because it blocks your what you're saying. It's very weird. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're talking, I'm like burping or something or laughing, then we can't hear what you just said because it interrupts your space. Um, I'm sorry, Zoom. I'm not trying to diss you. Okay. So one of the things I learned about you is that you did engagements, women in film, and you went really, you did speaker engagements. So you were like supporting so many people in different ways behind the camera, in front of the camera. And you
Yeah.
said you tried acting, but maybe it wasn't a passion for you. So you kind of like went to producing, right? Or am I making it up?
No, I think I've always wanted an act, but to be honest, there are more opportunities for Asians now. As a kid, I saw we were all watching what's on screen, and there were no Asians. There were a couple of newscasters.
Mhm. There were some wannabe Asians too. Wannabe Asian. So you're saying you would probably consider.
If I felt that there was that, because what happened when I was in Asia was I flew to Hong Kong. I go up on the Victoria Peak and went to a huge studio, and this lady looked at me and go, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, your Mandarin's not that great. You don't speak Cantonese, and so you probably won't make it that big." And I was like, "Wow, is this an interview? What's happening here?" And then she's like, "I'm really speaking on your behalf. I suggest that you don't pursue it because if you can't make it to the very top, it's really a long road and it's not worth it."
Hmm.
Thinking, yeah, it took me a long time to get up to this hill to hear this.
Yeah, Victoria Peaks is.
Out this.
Yeah, Victoria Peak is. I've been there. It just.
And so it made me realize, like, there's things that you do for fun. And if it catches on and you're in the right time and the right place with the right people, then go, 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 go. But if it's always going to be such a struggle, I don't know. Some people are always saying, like, don't give up. And I agree with that. But at the same time, don't be delusional. So it's a matter of that balance of, I, even if your confidence is at 100 and you believe in yourself, do other people believe in you? And they will say things or do things, and you have to find that balance. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and you have to do the homework. You have to train every day. Because I always tell everybody, including Asian actors, if you study for if you study for math, then you got to study for acting. It's the same thing. you can't just jump in there and go, oh, I can cry on cue and whatever else they can do. But I always say training.
I'm sure you see so many different kinds of talents
Hmm.
all the time, right?
Yeah,
You see,
yeah. Before before COVID, or presently because of the strike, we haven't been, it's only been a few people who are working right now, not everybody. Um, but I do if my friends send me their audition tapes and things, I tell them, I give them a feedback on it if they want it. Um, and I feel like did you, is all I say is that if you keep it like an instrument, if you keep using your voice every day and just by yourself, I mean, you don't have, I mean, if you want to go out there and pretend you're somebody else and talk to some stranger, you can do that too. But it's just like if you use your voice half an hour every day, reading a note, I sound so old, but reading a newspaper or an article out loud, just just to make your like for me, it's how do you say it? When you actors have to have a really good enunciation,
right?
and unless the character doesn't call for it, but most of the time they have to good, and so they have to practice that every day so that it won't, when they do get the chance to perform, it won't slip on them. I
Mm.
I don't know why I'm talking with my hands. It's like sign language. Okay. So, um, you went to India. Deepak Chopra.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
That's a big trip.
I'm sorry.
That's a big trip. See? Yeah.
I was in Singapore at the time and I wanted to search my soul. And then there was a flyer or something, a mailer that came through my door. And that was Deepak coming to Singapore doing a lecture. And I put it away and it showed up and put it away and showed up. And I go, boy, I think I should just go. So I went while my dog was getting snipped. So it's not in the like 100% there because I was worried about my dog.
Mhm.
Then he says, I invite all of you to go to Goa and spend a week with me. And I thought, oh, that sounds like it would be good because I really always wanted to learn to meditate. And here's this opportunity. So I went to India and boy, it was just a magical experience, from being out on the beach with people from all over the world to like you're in a tent with hundreds of people meditating at the same time, learning your sutra, your mantra, all of the questions that he can answer, and just being there and heightening your senses is amazing because as you're there, this is happening. But when I flew back to Singapore and I'm in a taxi heading back to my apartment, there was, on the rearview mirror, sometimes there's like a bell or something hanging there. So this driver had a bell, and I heard every decibel. So it was as if I'm just like, this is so surreal because it's going ding. And it kept going throughout this entire ride. And I realized, wow, like something happened where I'm more sensitive to sound and smell and like everything. And it really, I still meditate to this day from that experience.
Um, what question did you ask him and how many questions did you get?
Oh, I asked him if there are extraterrestrials.
Extraterrestrials. Ooh, yeah, that's a good question.
And he paused and said, there should be other life forms in the universe, but we should really focus on our own being on this planet.
Mhm. It's
Like,
like,
okay.
Um, how much was it? And I mean, I was wondering like my one of my other uh pe guests I interviewed, she went to see him too. And I was wondering, you have to travel all the way to India and go up this whatever hill that you guys have to climb to. There's no car. She said there's no car. You have to walk up there and so many things. But like you guys are the one of the few people who actually went up there. Not everybody goes up there.
No, we were in Goa. It's
Yeah.
his favorite place. It's by the beach.
Oh, okay, okay. So where is that? Sorry, geographically.
Uh, South of India.
Oh, okay, so but it's in India, right?
Yeah, and I flew from Singapore to get there, so it wasn't as far as the United States.
Hmm. Yeah, she's like 80, 85 or something. She went like I think she went around 80 or something. I don't know. She was older too when she went.
Okay. Well, there were tons of people. And then there was also like a group photo that I remember taking. And then after the photo, we went walking down this grassy hill. And I felt this like warmth, this if you're part of this whole crowd together. And it was another one of those feelings where it's like, wow, this is so powerful. Because
Mhm.
we were taking a group photo, then we're walking down this hill, and the movement now is from this still sitting together to walking down. So then that as everyone was spreading out, I felt the energy like open up, and I go, this is amazing.
Um, okay, so how much?
I can't, here's the thing with me as a producer, right?
Yeah.
Before I buy anything, I go like check, investigate, get the discounts, go
Mhm.
and try
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards. As soon as I buy it, I don't remember.
Copy. Okay. How about food? Was it good? Do you remember if it was good?
They served food. It was great. It was.
Mm.
Oh, and we also all wore this white garb that they gave us, so we all look like angels.
Did you get to take that home?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We're
souvenir.
asleep a lot until it became worn.
Wow, that's major. I'll never have that experience. Because I don't want to climb that hill, that huge hill that.
I don't remember there being anything
Oh,
strenuous. I think your friend went to something different.
maybe okay, okay. So maybe if he does in different locations, then I have a shot. I just don't want to. The hill that she told, like in her book, I read her book, and it was like it seemed pretty far up. And,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
and get that. That would have been fun.
Um,
Oh,
um, so
I,
okay, one of the things oh, what?
I always like a challenge.
I like challenges, like eating 5 meals a day or something like that. That's more goal I want to go for. You know? Um, so you work with Warner and all that. So did you find out that the bigger companies was easier, the studios or the smaller production companies? Which ones did you feel that it was all relative?
Size doesn't matter. It's
Mm,
always,
mm,
always, always know how, like the person that works well with you may or may not work well with other people. So your chemistry with that person, and you will feel it, they'll feel it, that sets the tone.
mm.
So that really, sometimes you have to stomach through it, but that usually is how it works. It doesn't really matter the size of the company.
Okay. And you basically bridged the gap for them for a while. And you even taught some film in China, which is fascinating that you chose to educate people over there. You were one of the professors that taught Chinese people in China.
No,
Oh, you did? Okay, so that one that one's not real. Okay.
I
But
teach film. I actually would talk about film.
oh,
Uh,
okay.
I guess that's teaching in some people's minds. In China, they often call people they learn from 老师, which means teacher. But I didn't teach film. I did mentor a lot of screenwriters.
Mhm.
Uh,
Because that's like TED Talks. They teach all the time, and it's not a real class.
exactly. You
Yeah.
know, and scripts are always interesting. Developing them is always interesting to me.
Mm. I finish off with some stuff here. Promoter. You did Summer Jam? Promoter? Like I did, I used to do promoter stuff.
Yeah.
For me, electronic music. I wasn't a big fan. Yeah,
Wow.
it was hard because you have to stay up past midnight. And
Right.
so you did that on every level from the, how did you, Summer Jam sounds really, really fun.
Oh, we did. That was with a friend of mine in who's now in Thailand. He's actually from Canada, and he has these performers who perform music and kind of teach music at the same time to little kids. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So the audience got pretty large in China, and then it spread throughout Asia. So it's helping him expand that. But prior to that was because I speak English and I know pop music, and I was working 2 hours at
Mhm.
night live. So I had a lot of time on my hands, and I met David Copperfield, and then I met his people who promoted him, and then you kind of like meet other people. And so I worked in an office and I helped him with all these like contracts and telling them you should get Duran Duran and Sadao Watanabe and Harlem Globetrotter. And so then I do the press conference and stuff like that.
So for the future, you're saying that you're gonna see which direction you're gonna go with on your next projects. Um, and it's still gonna be behind the camera.
I think so.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. I mean, performing is fantastic, but it's very much about the opportunity. So if you have content that you want to make yourself and direct, and you wrote it and you need to act in it, then by all means, right? But then in Hollywood, yeah, you get tons of auditions. So at least you get is as long as you can get into auditions, then you're still rolling, right? But for the rest of the world, it's not. You don't get that kind of a hub where you're constantly having like an agent call you and casting director seeing you and saying, come, you're being called back, and here's another audition for you. That doesn't always happen. So it's really about the opportunities you get. Otherwise, it's just time keeps ticking, and then you kind of go, oh, maybe I should have done this or that. As a performer, I think it's important to, as long as everything's legit, is to say yes to everything. And that's the other thing, is that a lot of the times when someone's, getting more calls than normal, they start to reject projects, and then they get more calls. So initially, until you're established, just
You say yeah.
legit. Again, like don't sell yourself, don't sell your soul. But if it's legit, just go and do it. Because each time you're gonna learn, whether it's a commercial, whether it's a public service announcement, voiceover, whatever
Exactly.
extra part, whatever it is, right? So
Exactly.
that's where I'm at right now. Someone would just say, we really think that you would be good, or do you want to audition? I'm open to that, right? But then I'm not pursuing that. So I'm looking at my whole lifespan of work, and I realize music is really the one with the most influential way of having people be uplifted. So I kind of feel that's the space I want to go into,
Mhm.
is something that's music related.
Oh, a musical.
Possibly.
Yeah, yeah. All right. How do let me do this. Let's do the 10 question thing. I
Uh-oh.
love this part. Okay. All right. Your favorite color.
Purple.
Your movie theater or streaming choice?
Movie theater.
Hamburger or pizza?
Hamburger pizza.
Both. Okay. Favorite boba flavor. Sorry.
Ginger caramel something.
Is it real? Is it a real flavor?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Banana, could be peach, it can be. But
Actually, I should ask you, what boba flavor would you want them to create?
oh, wow.
Mm.
Thing but fruitcake.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Um, Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Rolling Stones.
Your favorite Bruce Lee movie?
All of them.
Oh, good answer. Yeah, I like that. Um, any any Jedi or Fennec said it wrong. Fennec Shand
What's that?
or Fennec Shand. Maybe that's how you say it. Okay, I was wondering if you would know that. Okay. So any Jedi was all Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
But Fennec Shand is from Mandalorian, and then she moved into Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought of saying Princess Leia or Fennec, but then everybody would choose Princess Leia, right? And if you if you're Asian, you choose Fennec, then they think you're just choosing it because she's Asian. So I just wanted to make it all copacetic and say, hey, Jedi or Fennec. But yeah, if you saw
My
Boba Fett, yeah, she's amazing, amazing character. Um, Mom or dad?
mom and dad.
Mm. Okay, books or songs?
Song.
Okay, yeah. And lastly, what superpower do you want to have and why?
Wow. That's different from asking what superpower do I have.
Hmm.
Oh boy. What superpower do you want?
Oh, I think I said healing, or another one I said
Good.
teleportation, because I wanted to be somewhere really fast when I need to be somewhere, not, again, for emergencies, if a family members to ask for emergency. But when you do healing, I mean like healing other people, not healing yourself, because if you heal yourself all the time, you'll never die. It'll be immortal. So
Anti-chaos. Would that be good?
anti-chaos. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Then that means you'd be ending war all the time. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Human.
positive thing.
Yeah. Or traffic jams.
Oh my God. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that would actually help in LA. That would help in LA.
Yeah. Climate change too.
Exactly. Oh my God, you would solve the disaster situations as we had. Okay, where so now you're kind of off the grid, but I usually ask, or we usually ask this, where do people find you? And you don't want people to find you. So that's like, I'm like thinking, but I know you have a LinkedIn profile.
Which I
So
hate. And
mm,
I'm on Facebook and
mm,
I am on Nextdoor in San Francisco and I Yelp.
mm. Yelp. So everybody find her on Yelp. So like um
So
in
where to eat?
yeah, in Yoke, you heard of Yoke before?
Yeah, I have.
Mm. And what do you remember from your best memory of Yoke?
It's yummy.
The magazine.
Oh, when I was younger, friends we were talking about Asian magazines, and so Yoke was one of them.
Mm,
That was a long time ago. It's been around.
I know, I know, I know. It's a lot of magazines. Other frenemy magazines like A Magazine and Audrey. There's a lot of them. There's really,
Yeah,
yeah. So now that it's all digitally formatted, like with um podcasts or Instagram and stuff. Yeah, it's not in magazine.
What I really like is the fact that it's about Asians and not just Asian Americans, but just Asians across the board.
Mhm.
And there is a synergy amongst us.
Well, yeah, we want to unite and also invite other people, allies, I call them allies, who like to work together to provide a better world for not inclusivity, but at least just to get along. I mean, it's just a simple concept, really.
It is, but I think people judge a lot, and there's a lot of like judgment towards Asian Americans amongst Asian countries as well as vice versa. And people who are immigrants that are new to a country, so they're somewhat foreign, you know, their
Yeah.
manners and language. Who else to help each other out but us? So
Yeah, exactly.
I think we need to think of it in that way is
Mhm.
if you're thinking of unity, take action.
Mm. Hmm. Anti-chaos superpower.
Yeah, we gotta have that superpower and
Yeah.
tell us.
Oh yeah, I guess somebody will come up with that one too, the unification superpower. Just have it, yeah, that would be weird. Having one person have,
But then there's story, so story has to have conflict. So there it is.
yeah, yeah.
The pair.
Sad, but true. So, thank you, Sally. Thank you for Sally Yeah for being with us. And I also appreciate the fact that you introduced us. So I will forever contact you. And I I want to thank Yuri Alvin, Yoke Magazine, Larry Tazuma, CJ Batista, Campbell Moonjung, Tinyan, and Tommy Tan. And I wanted to tell you, like, it's such a great thing to have people like, I shouldn't say people like you, but I can say that because I'm Asian too. But it's really cool to have positive people. And I read your LinkedIn mantras and stuff. It's so amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Summer, and all the best to you.
Talk to
And
you
that's
later.
Stay tuned for the next episode. Pop the yolk and spread the love. Yolk is back, back, back.